Revolutionary greetings, comrades. We know we have taken time in concluding the discussion on Sudan. A lot is happening. What we are going to do, we are concluding on this video on the notes by the Zimbabwe Communist Party Political Commissar, Comrade Ian Bidos. We then in the next video, which hopefully that will be on the 6th of June, will be able to then speak to Dr. Elkoni, who is a Sudanese national, who is involved in the talks in Sudan, to give us a brief of what is currently obtaining in Sudan. So before we speak to Dr. Elkoni, who on the 25th of May 2023 made a presentation at a seminar organized by the African Diaspora Forum, spoke about the challenges that are currently obtaining in Sudan. We know that the ceasefire is not holding in Sudan. There have been many attempts to get the ceasefire working, but it is not holding. But Dr. Elkoni is going to explain to us these challenges. And we have seen those from South Sudan who were stuck in Khartoum, who wanted to be transported to South Sudan. We saw some transport ferrying them to South Sudan, but there are also serious challenges because they are trapped in Khartoum. They couldn't leave Khartoum. Others were being transported, and there was a fundraising that was going on to try and assist the South Sudanese nationals to leave Sudan and go back to their country because of the ongoing war in Sudan. But before we get Dr. Elkoni to speak to us in the next video, let us conclude on the notes by Comrade Ian Bidos, where he speaks about the overthrow of Omar al-Bashir and the aftermath of his overthrow. In December 2018, government in Sudan tripled the prices of basic commodities, and the inflation was running at about 70%. There was a massive protest that the people in Sudan organized. President Omar al-Bashir, who had been in power for 30 years, refused to step down, resulting in the convergence of opposition groups to form a united coalition. The government retaliated by arresting more than 800 opposition figures and protesters, leading to the death of at least 40 people, according to confirmed reports. On the 11th of April 2019, after a massive sit-in in front of the Sudanese Armed Forces main headquarters, the Chief of Staff decided to intervene and ordered the arrest of President al-Bashir, declaring a 3-month state of emergency. There was an agreement to send Bashir to the International Criminal Court, but at present he is still under arrest in Sudan. It is also the ICC, which we will discuss possibly later, that has said President Putin should be arrested when he comes to South Africa in August for a BRICS summit. We've seen some reports on suggesting, this is not confirmed, but suggesting that the government of South Africa might want to move the BRICS summit to China, but this is all at the present speculation. There's no position that has been taken. Over 100 people died on the 3rd of June 2019 after security forces dispersed the sit-in using tear gas and live ammunition in what is known as the Khartoum massacre. This resulted in Sudan being suspended from the African Union. The protest came to an end when the Forces for Freedom and Change, it's an alliance of groups organizing the protest, and the Traditional Military Council, that is the ruling military government, signed the July 2019 political agreement and the August 2019 draft constitutional declaration. The transitional provisions included the creation of a joint military civilian sovereign council of Sudan as head of state, a new Chief Justice of Sudan, Namat Abdullah Kai, and a new Prime Minister, Abdullah Hamdok, a 61-year-old economist, who worked previously for the UN Economic Commission for Africa. From August 2021, the country was jointly led by Chairman of the Transitional Sovereign Council, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and the Prime Minister Abdul Hamdok. Hamdok was sworn in on 21st of August 2019. He maintained that over 70% of the 2018 budget was war-related. There were shortages of food, fuel, and hard currency. Hamdok initiated talks with the IMF and World Bank aimed at stabilizing the economy. He estimated that $10 billion over 2 years would suffice to get through the immediate problems. The governments of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates invested significant sums of money in supporting the TRC after the removal of Bashir. On 3rd September 2019, Hamdok appointed 14 civilian ministers, including the first female foreign minister and the first Coptic Christian, also a woman. On 25th of October 2021, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan staged a coup against the civilian government, including Prime Minister Abdul Hamdok. Burhan then declared a state of emergency. So on the 25th of October, there was a coup in Sudan. So we said we are using the notes of Comrade Ian Bidos to have a better understanding on the ongoing conflict in Sudan. On the 21st of November 2021, as I've already said, there was a coup in Sudan. And then on the 2nd of January 2022, Hamdok announced his resignation from the position of Prime Minister, citing continual interference by the army. Osama Hussein then became acting Prime Minister, a post that he still holds nominally. At the beginning of April 2023, as an internationally brokered plan for a transition to civilian rule was discussed, power struggles grew between army commander and de facto national leader Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his deputy Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, known as Hamti, head of the heavily armed paramilitary Rapid Strike Force, RSF, largely formed from the Janjaweed Arab militia, which had created havoc in Darfur among non-Arabs. On the 15th of April 2023, the personal conflict between Burhan and Hamdit has erupted into open battles on the streets of Khartoum between the army and the RSF, including the use of tanks and planes. By the third day, 400 people had been reported killed and at least 3,500 injured, according to the United Nations. African Union and South diplomats headed to Sudan to attempt to mediate a ceasefire. As fighting continues, soldiers from various countries have arrived ostensibly to remove their civilians. So far, that is all they seem to be doing. However, we must watch very carefully. Protection of foreign nationals and the peacekeeping missions in Africa have had a shocking history. So when this article was prepared by Comrade Bidos, the ceasefire that I spoke to earlier on, which is ongoing and is not halting in Sudan, had not happened. We have seen some foreigners being airlifted from South Sudan. We've seen the Americans getting in. We've seen the British in terms of getting out their nationals. We saw the assistance of South Africans that were trapped in Sudan. So Dr. El-Goni is going then to give us more detail in terms of what is currently obtaining in South Sudan. We thought it's important that we firstly deal with this background history or this historical background so that we have a better understanding on the conflict in Sudan. Please share your views. Like I've said previously, that comrades from the African Diaspora Forum, some of them might be neighbors to Sudan. They might have more information than us. Some might be like Comrade Dr. El-Goni, from Sudan. Please share your views with us on what is happening. Please like this video, circulate, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Red salute, Amandla comrades.